Good evening, and this reflection is on the readings for the Mass of the fifth Sunday in Ordinary Time. And all three readings in the Mass for the fifth Sunday have something in common, and all three are encouraging. They are about three men whom God called to serve him, and all three responded and did great things for him. And they are Isaiah, Peter, and Paul. Each of them responded to his call, deeply conscious of each of them responded to their call, deeply conscious of their unworthiness. Isaiah tells how God called him to be a prophet. He was in the temple. He was deeply conscious of the presence of God and of the holiness of God. And confronted with the holiness of God, Isaiah became deeply conscious of his own sinfulness. He cried out, "What a wretched state I am in! I am lost, for I am a man of unclean lips." Isaiah tells how God took away his sin, how one of the seraphs touched his mouth with a live coal and said, "See now, this has touched your lips. Your sin is taken away. Your iniquity is purged." And then he hears the voice of the Lord calling him. "Whom shall I send? Who will be my messenger?" And Isaiah answered, "Here I am, send me." Paul also tells of God's call, of his own unworthiness of that call, and of the power of God's grace. "I am the least of the apostles. In fact, since I persecuted the Church of God, I hardly deserve the name apostle. But by God's grace, that is what I am. And the grace that he gave me has not been fruitless." And then we have the call of Simon Peter. Jesus said to Simon, Put out into the deep water and pay out your nets for a catch." Simon explained how they had worked hard all night and caught nothing, but he added, "But if you say so, I will pay out the nets." And the result? They netted such a large number of fish that they filled 2 boats to sinking point. Simon Peter was completely overcome. He fell at the knees of Jesus, saying, "Leave me, Lord, I am a sinful man." But Jesus said to him, "Do not be afraid. From now on, it is men you will catch." St. Luke tells us that at that very moment, Peter and his companions left their boats and followed Jesus. Isaiah, Peter, and Paul did not rely solely on their own resources. They relied on the help of God. And each one of them did unprecedented work for God. Jesus founded his church on Peter and the apostles, many of them simple fishermen. He could have chosen others. There were many highly educated men in Jerusalem at the time, men who were well versed in the scriptures. They could have taught and preached with great eloquence, greater eloquence than Peter and the other apostles. Still, It was to Peter and the apostles that Jesus entrusted the mandate to spread the message of the gospel. As we read and reflect on the experiences of Isaiah, Peter and Paul, we cannot but be reminded of our own calling to spread the message of the gospel, to draw others to Jesus Christ. This calling is not restricted solely to bishops, priests, deacons, and religious. Through our baptism and confirmation, Jesus has called each one of us to witness to him, to spread his message, to draw others to him. How exactly we do this will depend very much on our state of life, on whether we are single or married. Obviously, parents are called to help their children draw closer to Jesus Christ. We witness to Jesus Christ, first of all, by the way we live. Example speaks louder than words. It all sounds very well. Some of you may be thinking, but it's not for me. I can never rise to those heights. I know my weaknesses, I know my limitations. Well, in that case, remember Isaiah, Peter, and Paul. Look at what happened in their lives. None of us are worthy, and yet the Lord is calling every one of us. All Peter had to do was to pay out the nets. God did the rest. God worked the miracle, and he will do the same in your life and mine, if only we work with him and for him. So God bless.
The things for this week. There are 2 special days of prayer this week. On Tuesday, a World Day of Prayer against human trafficking. So that's an important intention to keep up with. And on Friday, the Feast of Our Lady of Lourdes, it's the World Day of Prayer for the sick, and a good day to get to Mass if you can. The parish have a funeral at 10 o'clock on Friday. That's the funeral of Mitzi Quinlan. The diocese, once more, is offering a retreat at home, a retreat online, starting on the first Sunday of Lent, which is very early in March. And the details of it will be online on our website. And I know people got a great deal from it last year, so recommend it. It involves some emailed material for reflection and prayer, and a video each week lasting roughly 25 minutes. That's about it, I think, from me. So have a good week ahead, and we'll see some of you tomorrow. All the very best.